This is Christian Ackerman with Mr. Ackerman Rants Podcast 3000. And you can find us at christianackerman.com. All the other episodes of this podcast can be found there. And also you can find us on Apple Podcasts and Podbean. We'll be coming out on many other platforms very soon, and we'll keep you up to date on what those are. If you want to stay up to date, go ahead and follow us on our Instagram channel and also Facebook. All the links can be found at christianackerman.com. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, this is also featured on YouTube, and we do feature this every Monday, every week at 6 a.m., our latest, greatest episode. So hit that bell notification, subscribe button, and follow us on all our various social media sites to find out how to listen to more of these episodes, back episodes, and backlog episodes, and also the pilot that started this episode so long ago. But now here we are on episode 11. Yes, it's been a long time. We've been doing this podcast for a while now. Last podcast, I had my wife on. We were talking about a lot of things about like desiring what you want and the process of finding it and getting there and finding who you are and what you like and all that kind of stuff. And normally on these podcast shows, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I don't like being scripted, but I like to have some sort of a plan or idea. And it might come to me and I might veer off in that direction. And when I film these podcasts and record these things, I know I need to do one. That's all I have. I know there's a necessary need that I have to do it. And sometimes it's like, it's kind of like when I was born. I know by the time I can remember picking stuff up and creating, making things and like taking things apart and making them work since I was a little kid, I knew I had this desire to create and make things. And so when I found my love of making movies, first it started off with just entertaining, making people laugh. I was watching like Jerry Lewis and the Three Stooges and Laurel Hardy and Chaplin and Harold Lloyd and all these, a number of other comedians like Danny Kaye, Dick Van Dyke, a ton of comedians, Bill Irwin. There's so many that I would watch that were physical comedians and also very funny and very talented, and they could sing, dance, and also act. There's like this amazing like explosion of excitement when I would watch these old movies, and see these guys and gals do amazing things that to me just excited me, made me laugh. They would cause emotion of like if it was a sad movie, they'd make me emote and cry. You know, it was cool to see these guys do these things, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do what they're doing, but I didn't understand like how you get there or how that all came to be. And I remember when I was a kid, I would play on the playground during recess, and I would entertain. I would always be entertained. I'd play, pretend with my friends. But then it'd end up, I'd be entertaining them. I'd be making them laugh. I'd be doing little slapstick shows and little things. I'd get my friends. I'd kind of coordinate and direct friends and stuff like that. My wife calls me the Pied Piper. I also remember when I was young, I'd always, my relatives would be always impressed that I'd gather the neighborhood kids or friends or the cousins and stuff. And we'd get all together and we would make a play, because I didn't have a video camera. I didn't have the necessary things to record it, but they did. The family members would have video cameras and stuff. And it was very rare if they had one because they were renting them or they were very expensive, or it was on 8mm. And very rarely they had them with them always. So a lot of this stuff wasn't always captured, and a lot of this stuff has been lost in translation, lost in moving from place to place. But I would get people together and organize and make plays and create. It was just a way of creating things, and I loved doing that. And I've done this for years, which led me into making movies with my friends. I remember my favorite time. There's a lot of many moments where I finally got my hands on a camera and I was able to make movies, like do some tests and do some awesome things. And one of my good friends actually, when I was a kid and I was in youth group, he was in a media business and a production business, also going to school, and he let me borrow a Hi8 camcorder, and they had all the Hi8 camcorders back then in the early 90s were like awesome. They were like mid 90s. I mean, in the mid 90s, they were awesome because you could do like you can record back to the camera. You can also, there was no like any micro sync protection normally. You can basically, there's no copyright protection, so you can record into the camera. And I could cut myself into movies, and I made a ton of funny little movies. I also ended up making, when I got my own camera, I made a movie called Glasses, and I intercut myself into films, and I could put myself in those films I love, but as a joke and comedy. It was really cool. And this was like before YouTube. This was in the late 90s and mid 90s, late 90s. I was making movies, and it was really cool. And my friend let me have a camera and borrow it. Later on, I got my own black and white camera. It was a Tyco camera. You had to plug it to the VCR, carry it around, and I would film movies. And why I'm telling this is there's I think something that happens to us that we basically we get an idea in our head, because it always starts right here. We get an idea in our head that I want to do that, or you see something and you're inspired by it and you're like, well, I want to do that. And then when you go to see how you can do that, there's a lot of roadblocks. There's a lot of maybe issues that keep you from getting there. Or you, as simple as not knowing how to get there. Where do you start? How do I do this? Who can help me? I don't even know who to ask to help. You ask your parents, they can't help you. You ask your friends, they can't help you. Ask anybody, and they just don't know how to get you there. But you've seen this thing. You tell them about this thing that you want to do. And I'm just going to use myself as an example of finding my way. And I continue to do this. Everything I do, I like to do multimedia things. I like to be very creative in doing things. Even in the job I'm a creative. I'm the media director, so I'm always working with multimedia and creativity and doing creative things. And I also run my own company, Fastcoast Productions, and also my Fastcoast Film Academy. And you can all go to the fastcoastproductions.com, check that out, and fastcoastfilmacademy.com, and check that out. And we do a lot of things. Fastcoastfilmacademy.com, I create movies with people. We make feature films and movies, and we're currently doing a number of films and getting them done. We just recently released one of our little mini-series, Jurassic Kingdom, with the Action Legacy educational series that we're starting. You can find more about that if you go to fastcoastfilmacademy.com and check that out. And there's also, just as a little mid-commercial here, if you want to support us and support what we're doing, you can contact us and ask us questions, or just watch our channel. If you want to support us in money, there's a donation button. You can click the donation button. You can put as much as you want to put on there, from $1 to whatever you want, and we'll take it. We like it. It helps us out. But really, putting us out there, sharing what we do, that helps us out a lot. So we appreciate that, because we really love to work, and I love doing what I do. But anyways, so pursuing a dream and pursuing something that you love, that you see, that you want to do, you're like, that's awesome. I want to do that. I want to become a BMX biker. I want to become a pro skater. I want to become a wrestler or NBA star, whatever it is. The one thing is, sometimes life, this is a whole nother realm, but it's not. It's still in the same context, but I can go off in this whole nother area, which happens to a lot of people. There's great stories of people who are going for the dream, pursuing it, and then it changed, and they had to pivot suddenly. And we can go into that. And we've talked about that a lot on these episodes. But tonight I'm going to try to stay focused on, when you're trying to go for that dream, try to make it happen. And right now, that's what I'm always doing. I'm always doing that. And when I can look back and see all the things I've done and accomplished, and I'm very proud. And now I'm trying to. It's almost like, in a way, are you willing to take the risk, to reset, to do again, to do over? And you do get to that point. We may get that far where I'll talk about that, but I'm going to talk about actually just talk about, just ramble on something that's kind of like I came up with. I felt like I need to share. And again, I don't know where this always will go, but I do have a few notes to keep me on track the best I can. And I'll veer off every once in a while to help me prove a point, hopefully. And that's the idea. And that's how, if you stay with me, normally I'll have the point, and I'll let you know how this works. And hopefully it'll make sense in the end. Every person who's successful normally also experiences some sort of a loss of success, or they have to regain their success, or they're unsuccessful pretty much their whole entire life until about the end, and they make it. And some people I think of like that do that up and down. If you look at the history of people, we can use Walt Disney for example. He failed so many times, even was very successful so many times, and there were so many times where it was like, oh, it's not working, and then success again. And then up to when he passed away just before Pirates of the Caribbean, can't even talk right now, Pirates of the Caribbean opened, that ride, before it opened, he passed away. And but there is, if you look at the history, there was a ton of moments where he could very well give up, or could have lost it all and literally lost his house. If you watch those documentaries about how he bet everything on himself, he got the best of the best. He fought tooth and nail to get his dream, to tackle his idea, and also it became the dreams of many others around him. It became infectious, and with the right dreaming, the right vision, the right communication, he was able to accomplish his goals over time. And me and my son, when we moved here to California, we had an opportunity to actually have a private tour of Garner Holt Productions, and that was an amazing tour. We watched. I remember years before meeting Garner Holt. Garner Holt is the one who any of the animatronics you see, like the newly animatronics or refurbished animatronics at Disneyland or even Knott's Berry Farm, he's done all those animatronics. All the good Chuck E. Cheese animatronics that are not creepy and weird, the ones that work and were good, those are all his. He did everything that you, right now, if you go to Disneyland, he's done that. He's done a number of other things. And he's also helped with also the Nightmare Before Christmas animatronics and all that. And I would definitely go watch his TED Talks. His name is Garner Holt. And so me and my son, we got invited to go on a private tour with a few people and walk around and see amazing animatronics, amazing stuff he was doing. And his TED Talks, I'm just going to use him. So and go ahead and look him up, Garner Holt Productions or Garner Holt TED Talks. And one thing he gives advice to people is never give up. And there's many times where you, like when you watch people that are successful, there's that saying, fake it until you make it. And I know there's a lot of confusion nowadays. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there where some people are going, oh, don't fake it to make it. That means you're lying and stuff like that. And all the successful people, the good successful people that I've seen, have faked it until they make it. And they still, that's a continuous thing. That's a thing that's been done for years. It's an idea like flashing lights to get you to come in, or a showman to get you to come in, heckle you, not to heckle you, but to get you mesmerized to want to look at the item they're selling to you. And also like the nowadays, like the old early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, like the paid programming, which now you get more on YouTube and stuff, which is funny. But those guys that would make everything look amazing, and just like they weren't lying to you. This product really worked, but they had to like show you almost like a magician how it worked. And it was all in the presentation. Everything was in the presentation to get you to go to see the vision, to see and want to. So you buy it to make your life better, or buy it to bring people together, or buy it so you have some short happiness or whatever it was. That's what they did. Or to actually, it'd be testimonials that get you to want to get a certain product or get a certain thing to help. When I'm saying product, anything's product, like learning subjects. My wife is doing digital marketing right now, and you can check out her digital marketing, and we'll have links in our description. You can click on these links, and she's trying to set up things and help other people so you can make money while not even, you do all the hard work first, you put it up there, and you make money while you're just doing nothing. You're doing your next dream or your next goal. Anyways, and she has dreams and goals, and maybe on the next episode we'll talk to her more about that. We'll probably have her on maybe the next one, and we'll talk about that a little bit, because that's all we talk about really. But anyways, Garner Holt, said, never give up. And a lot of the people that are successful also say, when you ask them what should they do, how should they start their company or go make their first movie, they always say, go make a movie. Just go. There's no excuses. Go. There's no excuses. And you have to set out and go. But what if you don't know how to start and where to go and what to do? What are you going to do? I remember I loved making movies so much. I would be obsessed with going to that store, Suncoast Motion Picture Company, at the North County Fair Mall in Escondido. And it would be near the third floor, right above Sharper Image. And I would go to that store and I would look at all the behind the scenes magazines and all the behind the scenes books and these big, huge coffee table picture books of Industrial Light and Magic and Rick Baker and all these guys and Tom Savini and makeup and special effects and how they did it. And I was so obsessed with it, especially when the Terminator 2 movie came out. I was really watching ILM, how they did everything. I was just obsessed. Like, how did it do those things? And I tried to recreate and buy makeup and do the same things. And this is something I want to do, but I didn't know how to get into it because the only thing I had at my school was theater, and they had gymnastics and they had choir and stuff like that, and band, but they had theater, they had drama. It was like the closest thing they had acting. So I was acting and doing my stuff and doing mime shows, and I'm a professional mime. And so I started pursuing anything to get me close to this thing that I wanted to do. I started going, it's movies. That's what I want to do. I want to make movies. Actually, I want to act in movies. But I have to figure out how to get in them, to act in them. And at the time, I didn't know, I lived in California, but nobody's going to drive me to LA to go act in a film because my dad's working all the time. There's, life's busy. And two, at the time as a kid, am I really wanting to pursue something like this? Am I really wanting to do something like this? So I had people in my life that found out this is what he loves, people that love me, my friends, my family, and they would always birthdays and Christmas, they'd give me things that went towards my dream because I was obsessed with this stuff. I loved it. I mean, I would literally want to watch the behind the scenes of Movie Magic on Discovery Channel anytime it would come on and record it if I could, and I would watch it. And I would watch it even if it came on again. I was obsessed. I wanted to learn. I was obsessed with learning. How do you do this? And then also, whenever any actor was sitting down talking candidly on how they got in the industry, I'd think, how did they do it? They had to audition. Okay, you have to audition. How do you audition? And what do you do? But I knew I wanted to get in movies, and I didn't know how to get there, and I didn't have the proper path. I didn't know what to do. And they always say, never give up. And they say, keep dreaming. They want to keep dreaming. Don't lie around, dream and then not do anything. The idea is, I'm talking about not lazy dreaming. I'm talking about not lazy, I'm going to become famous. There's a lot of laziness too, on YouTube right now, a lot of laziness on YouTube. Some people think it's just, they're going to do YouTube, they're going to do this, and it's going to be awesome. And they have the vision, they have the confidence, they have the belief, they have the goal. And then as they're doing it, it's getting harder and harder, and they're losing the vision. Instead of pivoting and changing and figuring out what the next step is, they don't assess and change and try a different path. One thing I noticed on my YouTube channel, it's still growing, it's still small, but it's growing, is it really substantially grew when I started making my own movies and showing the process while I was making movies on the day of production. I'd be on set and I'd show what we were doing for the day, and then I would turn on the camera and I'd vlog and talk about it, and I saw my channel grow, and I just kept doing that since every time I make a movie. And then when I'm not making a movie, I'm doing something like this. I'm making a podcast right now. This is a new thing that I do. And also because a lot of my stuff is in post-production right now. And also what I'm going to be doing as well is I'm going to start showing more of me working in post-production on things that I'm allowed to show. Because I'm also working on other people's projects. I'm working on Kung Fu Slayers, my friend Davey and Benny's film, Davey Williams. I'm helping him work on that. I'm working on a feature film right now. That's a Montana and Hollywood film. And I'm working on that right now here in California. And I also go up to Montana and work up in there too as well. So I'm working in both areas while I'm living here in California. And so basically, you have to not be lazy. You have to not lie around and be like, I'm just gonna dream and just sit there and do nothing, or lay on the ground I'm just waiting. Because that's when, especially if you're a young person, Or, if you're telling somebody about your dreams, they'll ask you like, oh, cool, that sounds awesome. What have you done so far to do anything? And that question, if that bothers you, what have you done so far? And you haven't done anything, that question will bother you. And so that's a good check to go, what have I done? Have I tried to contact people? Have I done anything? I remember in the 90s when I was trying to figure out how to do movies, the only thing I could do is ask my parents and close friends, people that were even in the industry or close to it. I'd ask them like, how do you do this? And they would tell me this is how I do it. And that's as far as it would go. They wouldn't like grab my hand and take me. I had to figure this out. So I remember before I even had a camera, I'd write scripts. That's what I do. I'd write scripts and take pictures and plan movies that I didn't have a camera in. So that's the best way I can plan a movie. Once I got myself a camera, then I started making films. I made a film called GR, which is on our channel on YouTube. Right now you can watch GR, the black and white GR from in the 90s. I starred in it and I just had to do something. I had to make a movie. And it's very crude, but I did it. And I made a movie and got friends involved. And it was really cool. I remember premiering that movie, and where I premiered it was in my living room. And a bunch of skater kids. And these kids came over and they watched it, and most of them I didn't know. They all knew each other, and some of them knew me, but most of them I didn't know. And it was the biggest moment of my life where I had my first screener. It wasn't in front of family. It was with people, a few people I knew, and a lot of people I didn't know in my living room. And talk about a screener, and they liked it. I was so nervous, but they liked it. And I was like blown away that they were like, hey, I want to be in the next one. I actually got one of them to be in the movie, and which was one of my friends. He saw it and he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And he got into the movie, and then everything got serious, and we made this movie and finished it. And it was really cool. And then I didn't have any place to show it. And then later on, I showed it at Access Television. This was before YouTube, and I showed it to many other people in Access Television. And again, I had another audience. People come up and go, man, that thing was amazing. How'd you make it? And they thought I made it on film, but I made it on this black and white Tyco camera. And I did it. I made a movie, and I was in this film. Even though it was my little dorky film, it was something of mine. I made it, and I had passion about it, because then I made the next film. And it's never easy. It's hard. So you figure out the how. How are you going to get to your dream? How are you going to get to your goal? And once you figure out your direction, the way you're going to get there, sometimes it's not going to be easy. You're not going to have a camera right away. You're not going to have the right proper resources. So you have to because you don't have the resources, you have to learn to be resourceful. And so I learned really fast to be creative, resourceful, being resourceful in making my movies and doing things, and how I did them and how I went about them. And that's one thing you have to do, like by just trying to communicate people what your vision is, and making things look fun and interesting to get people involved. And that's how I did it. And I do a whole thing on Fastcoast Film Academy and how going from here to here, because today how you distribute it is a lot different than it was back in the day. And distribution is a very different thing nowadays. But the process of making a movie is pretty straightforward, and there's so many ways you can go about doing it. I mean, my favorite, Gareth Edwards, went around and made a movie unconventionally, and that's the way I like to make movies, are unconventional ways. Because sometimes the unconventional way beats the big movies, because they have a budget and they have this whole thing, a whole back system. But when you're an independent and you're making a film, it's good to go independent and be resourceful and figure out how you're going to make it creatively, and with the help of your friends and family if they're involved. And you just have to be creative and be resourceful in what you're doing. And I think it makes your movie look a certain way, which, yeah, that could be campy B-movie, or can make it really good. And so you just keep doing whatever you can to make this thing happen. And sometimes a lot of people try to be like the people they see, try to emulate what they're doing, and that's okay. That means that gives you a little bit of passion, also gives you legitimacy, like meaning that you look, like they say, legit when you're working with your peers and your people around you. It'll show that you're serious about doing this. And so sometimes looking the part, like wearing a tie, wearing a collar, whatever, if you look the part, they will totally, it does something with the psychology of somebody watching you look the part. Something happens. It means it says a lot. It puts off a lot of signals saying that I'm serious about this. I'm a good steward about what I'm about to do. You can trust me. Here we go. And I remember I worked at Pick and Save for years, or for about almost 2 years, I think. Worked at Pick and Save, and I remember every day I decided this day one when I went in for my interview, and then from that day on working there, I would always wear a collared shirt, always a collared shirt. And I ended up working there for a long time, and I was working with this guy, a couple of kids, and I worked up, and this is a whole nother story, but the short story is I worked there for a while, and a couple of these young employees that were a little bit younger than me were working with me, and they started asking me, like, okay, what else do we need to do? And I would tell them, oh, gotta do this, and I was in charge of certain departments. Not a manager, just in charge of certain departments. I did the stationery, electronics, and toys. I picked those. I'm passionate. Why I pick toys is so I can get props for my movies. Stationery, so I can write my scripts and do all my things and make my posters and all that for my movies. And then in electronics, I can get all the media I need first dibs on for my films. It was all strategic. It was my direction to get to my dreams and help me complete my dreams while I was working, making an income to support my dreams. See, are you catching my drift here? So sometimes you're going to have to work jobs that you don't really like, but are close to what you want to do. It's okay to go in the direction that you pursue close enough to your dreams that'll help you keep you going and also help you fuel you to make that goal happen in reality. That makes sense. Okay, so hopefully that helps you out. And then I've probably been out of focus this whole time, so I apologize. I've been off my mark this whole time. But anyways, so you're being resourceful because you found direction. You have some kind of income. You're figuring out a way to make this work. Whether it's a job or somebody supporting you, raising money, whatever it is, to get you where you need to be. Somebody's helping you, a family member. You can't be afraid to ask for help. You can't be prideful enough to be like, hey, we need money. We're trying to do this ambitious thing. People like to see underdogs. People like to see people grow. People like to see people fail and then take a risk, but get back up and keep on going for it. When they get knocked down, they get back up again. You're never going to keep me down. Chumbawamba. So, now you've figured out what you're doing to go in the direction, to pursue your goal. You have to execute that, so you have to do it. You just got to keep doing it until you are achieving your goal. You have to learn while doing too. You have to learn, and meaning that you'll fail, and you'll be like, okay, that didn't work, so let's do this. Okay, that's still not working, let's try this. And then sometimes it takes a while to learn that you're in a cycle, to get out of that cycle, and then to pivot and go in a different direction. Many times I made a movie and I'm like, okay, one thing I am never going to do again is when I'm making my own film, I want creative control of everything. I'll still let people have input. Normally, if you watch the making of my films, which you can watch all the making of my films on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Fastcoast Productions. You can go to fastcoastfilmacademy.com, and all the links are there. And you can go to fastcoastproductions.com as well. But normally I would get, he's a chill director, he's a collaborative director, actor, writer, and he producer. He collaborates. Yes, because we're working on this together. I will collaborate with my artists, my actors, my set designers, and the people that have come on. They've come on and have taken a risk taking time out of their own time to help me out on this film. Also, for people who have helped finance my movies, they've taken risks by just like, here's some money, make that thing happen. Sometimes it takes me a little longer, and I get it done. But that's the other thing, is just keep on being persistent, and the execution is key, and it's hard. I failed a lot of times with execution. Even like a lot of movies, sometimes I'll get a movie going, and then something happens and I can't finish it when I thought I was going to finish it. Then things happen, life happens. We all know this, life happens, and it just kind of stalls you for a moment. But you have to. The idea is not giving up. That's like my Space Lock film. I remember we're making this movie, and I thought I want it done in a year. or done like even shorter than less than a year. And I really thought we were gonna get it done, but then we ran into problems on set that I knew like, oh, I wasn't surprised because this has happened. I've made movies. It's not my first rodeo. I've made many movies. I've been on many film sets where I've been on movies that never seen the light of day. I've been on movies that have been canceled. So, and so I was like, it kind of puts a drive in me that I want to make these movies and get them done. And I have a number of projects that I'm working on right now that haven't seen light of day yet because life things have happened. And I'm still pushing and pursuing through those. I'm trying to make those things happen. I'm going to make those work and get them done. And it feels really good and satisfying, even though it's like, oh, I didn't get them done when I wanted to, but at least I got them done. I didn't get to my goal like I wanted to, but I got there. I always feel like it's like when you're watching an Olympic race or those great videos of the people that they sprain their ankle, they get knocked down, and they're running across that finish line, even though the race is completely over. They're still running, and there's still people waiting for them, and there's still their friends and their family and the diehards that are waiting for them to cross that finish line. They know, they believe that they're going to cross that finish line. I think there's something powerful in that, in crossing that finish line and making it to your goal. So execution is just do it and learn. Next thing is learn. What are you learning from it? Assess what you're learning. What did I learn here? Like I was saying, is like one thing I worked on many projects. I'm going to keep the creative control so I can like do the project how I want to do it. I remember we were making Space Like, I told my friend Will Ponder, who was helping me with the project, and he was writing it. I said, I know you wrote this whole thing. I had this idea, but I'm going to destroy your baby, your written baby, because I have this vision that I'm going to do in this movie, and I need it to come a certain way. And then there was also little obstacles we had to get over, which he helped me out big time. Also, all my friends like Tim Nidell and things that were happening on production, like there was people on set that would help me. Even friends later that I made later from being on other shows. I made friends on other professional projects like Yellowstone that I worked on, and they would they came on board and helped us out. And it was awesome to have those people come on board and help us. And it's amazing when you build it, they do come. Like Field of Dreams, you build it, they will come. And the dream, Field of Dreams, building your dream, building what you want. There's something about that. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people they do satisfactory, like this is good enough. But a lot of people, they just like, I'm gonna just get a job and that's fine. That's cool. That's their life. That's their success. That's what they want. And there's people that are weird like me that want to know that they tried doing something they loved. They tried to create something from nothing. They tried to challenge themselves, even do a reset to make something happen. And that's what I'm doing right now. And you just have to be bold. I say here on my notes, you have to be bold. And when you're doing it, just do it. Be bold and keep the vision. You have to keep the vision. And going back to the top, never give up. That's the thing. Dream, have passion, figure out the how, figure out the direction, be resourceful while doing it, execute it, do it, learn from it, do it, keep doing it, and be bold while doing it, keeping the vision alive. It's like I can look at the many careers I've had from this dream, and it's taken me off into different directions. Like on my way to this goal, it's like funny. It's like I just want to make movies and live and have a life like what's happening right now, which is really cool. It's like building up. There's a lot more. There's a bigger story happening right now behind the scenes. That'll be for another video. I know I'm marking it right now, and I'm telling the future me right now. So because this video, I might watch it. It might pop up. It might, I don't know, somebody might refer to it and go, hey, remember when you said this thing? I'll have to go back and go, did I say that? And find it, and you'll give me the time code or whatever. But right now, I'm like, this is what you have to do to yourself. So I'm talking to myself right now, and I'm blurry again. Sorry, I'm out of focus again. Sorry, guys. I keep going off my mark. What you have to do is you have to tell yourself to keep going for it. There's a lot of things happening right now. When you were pursuing that dream, because you made movies, you made films, because you're doing this thing that you love to do and you're pursuing and you're using it to put on resumes to get jobs like you did with the NBC job and you became a camera operator. And after becoming a camera operator, you moved on to television and you worked more onto television, becoming a producer and a trainer and a mentor in TV production. And then you went from there on to other television shows like Trading Spouses and the Travel Channel. And then you kept on going and climbing. You're climbing, and you went from one thing to the other, becoming a teacher in after-school programs, and then also becoming a high school teacher later on. And then also, while becoming a high school teacher, teaching, becoming it was so weird, a public speaker on what you do, and telling people and training them on what they do. It's been a crazy life. And then going from there now to the next goal that you're doing right now, going from California to Montana, meeting and working on bigger productions and shows and working on films and doing amazing things with other people and meeting big stars and pursuing your dream. Just these awesome regular people that do amazing, talented things. These movie people and these TV people, and making friends that you never thought you imagined you make friends with along the way. If you're doing that, and now you're going for the next big goal, and you've come to California, you've come to the place people go, why are you going that route? Why are you doing it? There's a lot of negativity. I'm up for the challenge. I'm up for the challenge. When I went to Montana, I moved from California. People went, why are you going to Montana? Aren't you interested in making movies? Hollywood is a lot closer. You're going to jump over Hollywood to go to Montana to go pursue your career? And I said, yes. And I went, I made a mistake. And then things started to happen. And then I made my first film, my feature film, that got produced, distributed worldwide, and got on Netflix and went to amazing other things, and got me into other careers and got me into other things, which was very amazing. All I wanted to do is make movies. I wanted to do this, and then I got other jobs because of it, teaching people how to make television, movies, film, and work on cameras and do that kind of stuff. To the job I'm doing right now, where I am a media director at my local church. And it's just amazing that I never thought it would take me this way and around and to all these other things. I never thought I'd be a high school teacher teaching kids and making give them grades and all that kind of stuff. I never thought I'd be teaching after school programs with other kids. I never thought I'd be teaching college kids how to make movies and do television. I never thought I'd be head of a movie club in Missoula for so many years and running that with my awesome friends. I never imagined the journey I've had. I just from the passion of watching a movie, watching people laugh and going, I want to do that, has brought me so far into these amazing things. And I'm excited to see where it brings me next, because it always is a plus. It's like I'm going for this one simple thing, but then I add on all these other amazing like I never thought I would be able to do digital editing, and I became a digital editor, which now I do feature film editing. I never thought I'd be making tons of feature films on my own. I wanted to be an actor. I never thought I would get the talent and get that skill level of being able to work on computers and do things with computers. I built my digital skill level up, and it's been amazing. I can train people on how to do basic websites and how to make a podcast, and what we're doing right now, how to use cameras and stuff like that, which has been a very poor version because I haven't stayed on my mark and my camera's probably out of focus on me this whole time. The thing is, even when you run into problems while you're pursuing your dream, you keep pursuing it and don't give up. Don't stop. Keep going, keep moving, and keep pursuing. The world's going to tell you, why are you moving up to Montana? That's a bad decision. You're going to get there and you're going to believe whoever's telling you. You'll believe whoever's telling. Why not believe the people that are encouraging you? Why not believe that there's a possibility you can make it? If you're doing something, you're not just lying around, but you're trying. You're legitimately trying to get to your goal. Why not go for it, no matter what? No matter what, the world's going to knock you down. If you never tried to do it, then you would have a ton of regret. Would you rather have regret? Not knowing, what if I did make it? What if this could have happened? What if I did achieve my dreams? I'm going to go for it. How about you? My name's Mr. Ackerman with Mr. Ackerman Rant Podcast 3000. You can watch us on youtube.com/Fastcoast Productions. You can head over to christianackerman.com to find links to our other episodes. And you could also find us on Podbean and Apple Podcasts. Guys, thanks for listening. I'll see you in the movies.